Hey everyone, Anthony Rees from Chef here. And today what I thought I'd do is to show you how to use OneView, so the HPE OneView API, and be able to push all of your InSpec-based tests into your Automate, so Chef Automate, so that you can pull all of that information into Chef Automate. So let's see how that's going to work. Basically, I've got here a blank environment. So I have no server profiles, and as you can see, I've got no networks set up whatsoever. So I've basically got a blank canvas in my OneView environment. So let's go ahead and use InSpec to go and to test that. So let's take a quick look at my code. I'll share all of this with you so you can see the GitHub repos. But essentially, what I'm going to do is I'm going to run a set of tests to be able to check to see if my Ethernet's being configured correctly. I'm going to check to see if the fiber channel's being configured correctly. Make sure that the enclosure groups have all been set up, and you can see the names and the ports and the power modes and all those types of things. And of course, make sure that the enclosure group is set up correctly. And last but certainly not least, we'll take a look at making sure that the server profile works as well. So let's go ahead and run this InSpec-based test. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pump all of the output straight to my Automate instance. Now, of course, OneView has nothing in it, so all of these tests are going to fail because there's nothing there for InSpec to pass on. So as soon as those tests have been completed, we should see all of that information come through into Chef Automate and be shown in the UI. Now, while that's happening in the background, once we've completed that check, then what we'll do is we'll actually use Chef to go and to stand up some infrastructure. So essentially what we're going to do is we're going to use it to go and to stand up some enclosure groups. We will then go and get it to stand up the interconnects, set up the networking, and then set up a server profile. So we're going to go and set up a server profile for a Docker container, and that will be what we go and set up. So let's go back and have a look. Okay, it looks like that should have run. If we go in and into Chef Automate and check our compliance, we'll see that we've got a OneView test node here. Let's go and have a look at it, and lo and behold, everything has failed. So you can see there's no Ethernet. If I go and open that up, yep, sure enough, view the source code. All right. Basically, it should have found an Ethernet network, which was tagged, and of course didn't find that. So as you can see, all of that information brought straight from the OneView API into Chef Automate. So now let's go and actually create ourselves an environment. So we're going to go and stand up an environment in OneView on top of all of our servers that are already in there and configured. And we should be able to see this start to set up in the background. So as it goes and runs, it'll run through the Chef Cookbook, executing the recipes in the right order. So here you can see it's going to go, first of all, go and to stand up our Ethernet network and go and create that. Next, and so you can see that actually happening live in the background here. Next, it's going to go and set up our fiber channel network, and it'll go through and configure all of that for us in the background. It doesn't take very long to go and stand up. Great part about this is that it's completely repeatable, so you can use it to make sure that all of your environments in your bare metal HPE servers and things like that are all configured absolutely identical. All right, so it's done that, and the next and the final steps is where it's going to go and create the server profiles for us as well. So it'll go off and create that. If we go and have a look in OneView now, we should see that we've got our network set, which is configured. We already saw our network, so we've had both our fiber channel network and our Ethernet network already set up. Hopefully we should see the server profile. No, it hasn't been stood up yet. It's just creating the enclosure group, and the logical interconnects have all been done, and now it's going and setting up the profile config for the server, which is doing that now. Okay, there it is. So we've just gone and set up that now. So now we've actually got something in our environment. So now let's go and rerun our InSpec based tests. So we're going to kick them off again. This time it's got something to run against. So hopefully this time we'll see a lot more of our tests start passing, because as you remember before, we had everything basically fail in here. Okay, so this time you can see we've got a lot more things passing. So we've gone off and we've checked to make sure that the Ethernet network was there and was correct. We can view the code for it, and we've also gone and checked the fiber channel, make sure that that exists. We can go and check the code for what was run against that as well. And finally, server profile, make sure that that all exists. So we've checked to make sure that the server affinity is correct, server profiles were correct, that it used the correct profile, and that it was using, in this particular case, it was the Docker worker profile. And we can view all of the source code that ran against that to make sure that that environment was all configured correctly. So essentially, that is how you configure your OneView environments using Chef. You use InSpec, obviously, to be able to go and test that, and you can pump all of the test criteria that you've run into Chef Automate and visualize that through the graphical user interface that's provided by it. I'll post links into this YouTube video so that you can see all of the code that I use to be able to go and create that. Hopefully it was helpful, but that's how you link up HPE OneView with Chef Automate 2. All right, catch you later.